Zombie apocalypse.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Kaz here again. We're back with a bit more Infinity Craft today. Not much has happened since the end of last episode other than me clearing a bit there. And I am going to be starting us a mine today. So I already have the basis of one started. Justin will be joining us later on. In terms of actual resources, until I get my mine up and running, I'll probably just do some caving through the cave system that's around here. But I figured we'd get some of Justin's commentary while he's building his house. Oh. Why? Oh.
I said yo.
Oh, you said yo.
Oh.
Also, you need to bring me some of them potatoes soon. I got 10 loaves of bread left.
10 loafers?
10 loafers.
Character just rolled.
Ugh. So as I was saying to Justin off camera, in the last iteration of Infinity Craft, or the last world that we had, I had a pretty grand mine in terms of me. I normally make pretty grand mines, but that one was extra grand. This one's gonna blow that one out of the park. We're gonna have fancy stairwells going down. It's gonna be better than Justin's and Squishy's, mostly because theirs are just stairwells. Mine's gonna be fancy. Mine's going to blow them out of the water. It's going to be great. We're going to start by setting up mining base alpha right here. Our temporary mining base alpha, should I say. Just to have some... Yeah, just to get like some furnaces and some crafting tables here so I can build stairs. Right? Just so I don't have to run all the way back to my house, because that's just going to chew up my hunger. Yeah. We'll make some planks. Boom, crafting table. I don't want that right there, actually. Let me move the crafting table. We'll put the crafting table right there. Whee! And we'll get like 4 furnaces. Why not? Boop, boop, boop. Boop. There we go. That works. And we'll make some stairs. Don't have a stone cutter down here, unfortunately, but this will be enough to get us down quite a couple levels. Oh. So. Oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm just tired. I've done that. Oh, yeah. Well, after my brother's wedding, I was just drained. Oh, I've already broken into a cave. Well, this is lovely. Correction, I didn't break into a cave. I broke into a little pocket of air.
A little pocket of air.
A little pocket of air.
A little one.
Oh, well.
Itty bitty one.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm so tired, dude. I've done nothing all day, and I'm still exhausted. Like, I cannot describe how dead I feel. I didn't even drink either, so it's not like a hangover or anything like that. It's just, I'm tired. There was so much social interaction, and I hate public speaking for everyone who's watching my YouTube channel. And I know that's ironic because
yeah. I say.
Yeah. Or correction.
For those of you listening, I don't like public speaking.
A better way to phrase that is I hate public speaking when I can see the people I'm speaking to.
And note to self, he hates live streams.
Well, I can't see people when I'm live streaming.
What if they have webcams? What then?
Then I hide in a turtle shell. Screw your logic. I hide my turtle shell. But like,
what if all the turtles are dead? So you don't have a turtle shell.
I make one out of steel.
You should have used that steel to make straws.
Or I pull an even bigger big brain move. I don't use a straw. I just drink from the cup.
What are the turtles gonna do now?
Turtle's gonna
How many
live,
straws
bro.
to choke on?
Turtle's gonna live, bro. That's what they're gonna do.
What if their entire purpose is to choke on straws?
I don't think that's their purpose. We have an
That's their
ecosystem for a reason.
purpose.
Oh god. We need to get Squishy in here. We'll have such stupid commentary. But yeah, no, like
Well,
recording video. You fell. Oh, like recording videos, I'm fine with that because I don't see the people that I'm talking to. They're just kind of, they'll see it eventually, and I don't have to see them. So it's like, haha. But like, I had to stand up there in front of like 40 people, right? Like, I had to stand up there in front of 40 people, and like, before anything happened, like we just finished with pictures and stuff, and we just got into like the actual reception, which is in a different location for people who are wondering, and I had to introduce them, and I'm like, oh, we're already starting off strong, great, I love this. So like everyone else is in there, it's just me and them, and we're standing outside, and I'm like, okay, how do you want me to introduce you? And they're like, I don't know, figure something out. And I'm like, wow, thank you, this helps me so much. So I'm sitting there, I'm just standing there, and they're like, are you gonna go in? I'm like, you want me to figure this out on my own? Give me a minute. And I literally just sat there, like, not even sat there, like I stood there. I'm like, all right, how am I gonna do this? 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 And eventually I was like, all right, I'm just gonna walk in there and say, like, I didn't even have a mic. Like,
you just had to yell.
I just had to yell over 40 people.
Hey, these are people.
yeah, basically.
Look at these people. Look at them.
Oh yeah, no, it was terrible. So like I walked in, and they're like, everyone's seated at their tables, and there's like a huge dance floor between like the regular people tables and like the wedding party table. Like there's a good 20 feet, if not more, right, between them. So I'm just standing like
Regular
in the
people tables.
regular people. So I'm just standing in the middle of this like stupidly wide open floor. And
What if it was a
everyone
smart floor, huh? What then?
shut up. So I'm just standing there, and I'm looking over all these people, and I'm like, oh god, they're starting to notice me. A few people are looking at me, and I'm like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. And I'm like, if I can get your... Oh, you went away?
And I went away. I was away for like all of 3 seconds. Ah, skeleton.
I thought I heard my... I thought you tried saying my name to get my attention, so I just kept talking, because screw you. So basically, I'm standing there in the middle of the floor, and I'm just like, excuse me, if I can get your attention, or if I can direct your attention towards the doors and help me welcome Mr. and Mrs. Blank. And I'm gesturing towards the doors, and everyone looks over, and I'm like, walk in already, walk in. I'm staying there for a solid 3 seconds before they walk in, and I'm just like, oh, come on already. Because I'm just standing there, and people are like looking between me and the door. They're like, what's going on? What's going on? Like, it was probably 3 seconds, but it felt so much longer to me. Like, oh my god, I was just standing there like, walk through the doors already, or I'm gonna drag you in here. And then I had to announce the first dance. Then I had to announce when food was gonna be ready. The worst part was the food. Like, not even standing there at the very beginning, saying like, hello, and like shouting people. So when I had to announce the food, I was actually given a microphone at that point. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I plugged the microphone in, and I'm looking at the sound box. And I'm like, all right, how do I turn this on? How do I turn this on? I'm looking at the sound box. I noticed a few people are looking at me. I'm like, oh my god, stop it. And I'm looking at the sound box. I'm like turning the dials, and I'm like, it's not turning on. And I don't know why my mind blanked on this. It's probably because people were looking at me. And then one of the brides, or one of the bridesmaids, bridesmaids, maids of honor, One of the two.
Made so hard.
I don't know, man. That no, the maid of honor was the guy. No, one of the bridesmaids. That's what it was. Okay, she comes over and she just looks at me, looks at the mic, grabs the mic, flips the switch on the microphone. I'm like, oh, thank you. Don't mind me. So like I flip the microphone on. I'm like, all right, everybody. So, supper is gonna be served in about 30 minutes. In the meantime, we have some finger foods off to the right side of the table. If anyone's feeling peckish, I use the word peckish, and I'm just like, oh, I hate myself. I hate myself. I hate myself. And then I ended that off, like right after I said if anyone's feeling peckish, and I'm like, and yeah. And I turned off the mic and walked away, and I'm like, why did I say and yeah? And then they're looking. Then the like wedding party is looking at me. They're like, "You're doing great." I'm like, "No, I'm a train wreck. This is just hilarious for everyone else." And they try not to laugh at me. They try not to laugh at me, but I'm like, just go ahead. I know this is terrible.
If it's any comfort to you, I would have openly laughed at you.
You're a jerk.
Oh, I know I am. That's my trait.
Oh my god,
Got myself in it.
it only got worse from there though.
Really?
It only got worse. So once supper was done, or was like on the table and served, my brother was like, "Alright, start calling people up." And I'm like, "Alright, I got you." And I was like, "So you're wanting to do the tables in order, starting with the head table?" And they're like, yeah. I'm like, "Okay, cool. This is going to end greatly." They're like, "No, you'll be fine." I'm like, "No, this is going to end greatly." So I get up on the microphone. I'm like, "Alright, everybody, so supper is served, but we're going to do supper in terms of like table order. And we're going to start with the head table first, so the wedding party. So you guys can go up to get your food, and once they got their food, I will call the next table." And yeah.
You did the and yeah thing.
Yeah, because I didn't know what to say. And I just hung up the mic, and then
And yeah.
and none of the wedding party got up, and I'm like, "Get going!" Like none of them were moving. And I'm like, "I hate you all." Like they were just casually sitting there, and I'm like, move. Oh, I hated my existence for all of like.
Sounds like you had a fun night.
Oh my god, it was so bad. It was so bad. It didn't get any better throughout the night, though. So the bartender was an old friend of my brother's. He used to be a bouncer, right? So he knew her from way back when. And I got a bit better at the MC thing towards the end of the night. And I'm like, alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do cake, and then after cake, they're going to have their first dance. And yeah. I didn't actually end it with the "and yeah" again that time. I was kind of just like, yep.
That would have been funny.
Oh, I'm sure everyone was laughing at me, including a couple of my coworkers who attended the wedding. Anyways, so they do the cake cutting, and then they go for their first dance, and they're like, alright, halfway through our first dance, call everyone up to the dance floor, because it's already going to be awkward enough for us standing up there. And I'm like, I got you. So, like, halfway through their first dance, they're, like, looking at me, like, just mouthing the words, call people up. I'm like, I got you. I didn't do it for another, like, minute or so. I'm like, if this is going to be awkward for me, it's going to be awkward for you too, and you guys gotta suffer. I did not feel bad for it. I was just like, haha, suffer like I have. So, they're like halfway through their first dance, and then what's it called? Then about halfway through, and I'm like, alright, everybody to the dance floor, or they would like everyone to join them on the dance floor. And then immediately, like, the bartender, like, sprints over to me, but, like, casually does it, because I didn't even see her coming. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I'm getting everyone to the dance floor. And then she's like, no, normally after this, they have their dance with their mother, father, daughter thing. And I'm like, oh? She's like, yeah, no, you messed up. And I'm like, this is what they told me to do. She's like, oh, okay, never mind then. And she just goes back to the bar.
Oh.
And like, I'm not, like she was coming up like, oh my god, what are you doing? And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm being told. Like, it was a bad. So like, they had zero plan for the entire night. So I like 2 days before the wedding, I was given the position of MC. So like, and I did some research on it, and the only reason I took that position was to get out of polishing a truck.
Out of polishing a truck?
That is the reason I became the MC. And I later regretted that decision very much so.
Yeah, it's like, polishing a truck's not that hard.
I know, but it was my dad's like old like 69 Ford.
Yes, that is a very scary thing to do.
Yes, that's why I was like, I'll be your MC. So I was given the position like 2 days before the wedding, and I took it without even knowing what it was. So I get home the next day. Yeah, no, it wasn't that night. I said I was gonna do it that night, but I didn't. So the next day, I'm just like, all right, I'll look it up on my lunch break. Holy crap, the server's lagging so much for me right now.
Really?
Yeah, no, this is bad. But anyways, it's the next day, and I'm just on my lunch break, and I'm like, all right, let's take a look at what I need to do, what I need to know. And it's like, MC is master, it stands for master control, and I'm like, oh no.
Got bamboozled.
I was just like, oh, this is gonna be so bad. And it's like, you need to meet with the wedding party beforehand to discuss their wants and needs for the wedding. And I'm like, ah. So naturally, a couple times I tried talking to them, like, all right, what do you guys want to do? After looking at this, I'm figuring out that I have to talk to you about this. And they're just like, oh, we don't know. Holy crap, the server's lagging. So like, I'm trying to talk to them, like, all right, what do you guys want to do? What order do you want to do this in? They're like, we don't know. I'm like, oh my god.
Socially awkward MC's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
It's one, just being an MC, and then two, having everybody just be like, yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yup.
It's such a nightmare.
Oh, you have no idea. So like, I was looking at it, and I'm like looking on Google, and it's like, you need to introduce them when they're first walking into the reception. You need to announce the first dance. You need to announce meal plans. And I'm like, oh my god, why? So I'm sitting there like, all right, what on this list do you guys want me to do? Like, just basic stuff, right? And they're like, oh, well, we want you to announce us when we arrive. And I'm like, okay, that would have been great to know. I would have just walked in and sat down. Like, I would have just straight up walked in and sat down. I wouldn't have announced them. Because I had no idea, right? So that was the first story. And, what was it? So, like, it was right before their first dance. They're like, all right, let's do our first dance, get everyone dancing, and then we'll do cake. And I'm like, really? That's how we're doing this? They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, you're doing your dance, then cake? Wouldn't you want to do cake, then your dance, so people don't have to stop dancing? And they're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And I'm like, oh my god. And then from that point, I'm like, all right. So I announced the cake and everything. Or no, even before cake, we had to do speeches, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be even greater. And it's like, oh, you don't need to do one. I'm like, this is great. I love this now. I didn't have to do a speech. I was like, haha. But my socially awkward brother did. And so I was like, all right, we're gonna do speeches now. So I'm like, so I get up on the stand, and I'm like, all right, I'd like to invite the best man to do a speech for the groom, blah blah blah, right? So he comes up, he gives a nice little speech, short and sweet, right? So I was like, okay, thank God, maybe this will be over quickly. And then I had to call up the maid of honor to do a speech for the bride. And for reference, the maid of honor was a dude who knew both the bride and groom from like high school. So he got up, he gave a nice short and sweet speech, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice. And I call up the father of the groom, and he pulls out like this paper, and I'm just like, oh god, oh god. Like, he gave this like great speech, like holy crap, like a 1.5-page speech, and I'm just like, oh, what? Like, it was a beautiful speech, like, don't get me wrong. And I was just like, huh, I bet the other guys are feeling inadequate now that they didn't pull out a paper. This was like a pedestal that people came up to talk to, right? So like, he pulled out this paper, put it on the pedestal, and everyone's like, and he's like, oh, it's probably just a joke, there's probably nothing on the paper. And I'm looking over his shoulder, and I'm like, oh no, there's a lot on that paper.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, I guess it makes sense, right?
Oh, 100% makes sense, but I was just sitting there like, oh no. The other guys didn't have papers. They literally just winged it. Winged it. That's proper word.
Wung it.
They wung it.
Oops. Crap. That's a train wreck what I just did there.
Don't worry, it wasn't as bad of a train wreck as me as an MC.
Holy cow.
Oh,
how many words do we need to cut? 1, 2, 3, 4. Stack them up.
Oh my. Yeah, no, it was a great experience overall. I will never do it again.
It was great. I'm never doing that again.
It was super awkward for me though, because I'm part of the wedding party. So like, alright, first table can go get its food. None of them are moving. I'm like, go get your food so I'm not standing here looking like an idiot saying I'm gonna get it for myself and no one else is gonna get it. Like, I'm just standing there like, go get your food, go get your food, go get your stupid food already! And none of them are moving. I'm like, I hate you all. Like, none of them are moving, and I put down the mic and I'm like, guys, go! I actually had to say, get up and go, get your food. And they're like, oh, okay. Then they all get up and I'm like, oh. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Come on, skedaddle.
Boo. Cool. I managed to record an entire episode of just commentary, which was amazing. And I managed to make my mine. Yas. And look at that, my first large chest is full. Alright, so I think I'm going to call this episode here. I think I'm just going to do a little bit of mining off camera. Keep talking with Justin, because, you know, Justin's great. But yeah, if you guys like my video, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below and hit the like button as well. You're always welcome to do that. It shows me that I'm actually making a difference. You guys are liking my videos.
No, you're not welcome to do it. Don't do it. He's lying. The trick.
No, you're welcome to do it. Don't believe him. But yeah, until next time, guys, I'm the Cows, and peace out.